The Canon M50. Hey there, my name is Angela. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here or just happen to be coming across my video on this part of the internet, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. And if you're watching this video and you think it's cool, don't forget to hit that thumbs up as well. So it is May 17th, 2020, and I got my Canon M50 on February 14th, 2020. It was Valentine's Day. My boyfriend surprised me with it. It was my camera of choice though, because I was looking it up so much and I had mentioned it. That's why he went with it and got it for me. But I thought I should mention that going into all this. So a little bit of background on myself. I consider myself a beginner photographer. I did have some photo experience prior to getting this camera, including yearbook and photography classes back in high school like years ago. But when I got this camera, it was the first time I had my own interchangeable lens camera. So take note of that. I switched from using an iPhone 10 for the majority of the time and a Nikon D5600. The Nikon was my company's camera, so I would use it here and there, but it wasn't my own camera, so I wasn't using it all the time. So originally what caught my eye about the Canon M50 was the price point. And like I said, I didn't buy it for myself, but I had originally intended to buy it for myself, so the price was relatively affordable and that attracted me to it. So right now it is listed as $499 on Best Buy. I think that's just a temporary sale, I don't know, but when I got it, it was $599, which is not super low, but for an interchangeable lens camera, it's not extremely high either, because cameras go upwards of like $3,000. So the Canon M50 is a mirrorless camera. Right now, for professional photographers, DSLRs and mirrorless cameras are the big two because they have interchangeable lenses. The difference between a DSLR and a mirrorless camera is a mirrorless has no mirror, because the way that a DSLR works is it has a little mirror that reflects the light up to the viewfinder for you, but a mirrorless camera is all electronic, so what you see in the viewfinder is an electronic image that it is sending to it rather than the light reflected up. So because it doesn't have a mirror, mirrorless cameras are compact, and that was another thing that attracted me to the Canon M50, the compact size of it. Another reason why I wanted a mirrorless camera is because mirrorless cameras have kind of been the driver of innovation for the past few years, and it seems like the market's kind of heading in that direction. So I thought I would get started with one. Another reason why I chose the Canon M50 is because of the picture quality. A Canon M50 has 24.1 megapixels. Essentially, a megapixel is 1 million pixels, so 1 megapixel equals 1 million pixels. And a pixel is the tiny little square that makes up your photos, and the more tiny little squares you have that make up your photos, the more information you get and the clearer the photo is. So that means you can zoom in without it becoming super pixelized right away, and you could also either blow it up for websites or even for prints if it has a higher megapixel quality. So the Canon M50 has a 24.1 megapixel. I was mostly using my iPhone 10, which has 12 megapixels. If you have an iPhone 11, which is considered the best on the market for iPhones for camera quality, it also has 12 megapixels, but it has two lenses, so it's 12 plus 12 megapixels, but the Canon M50 has 24 megapixels. I said megapixels like 20 times right there, but that's one of the reasons why I chose this camera, because of the high quality image in comparison with the iPhone. My company's camera has actually 24.2 megapixels, so it's slightly better, but it wasn't my camera and I didn't want that camera because it's a DSLR and it's also a Nikon, which doesn't have a guaranteed autofocus on lenses, which brings me to another reason why I chose the Canon is most Canons have autofocus. You don't have to worry about getting a lens that only has manual focus. So that's why I chose it. So the Canon M50 has a dual pixel CMOS autofocus system. By dual, it means it has both phase and contrast detection put into its image sensors. One of the big downsides to the Canon M50 is that the 4K setting for shooting video does not have dual autofocus. It only has contrast detection rather than contrast and phase detection, so the autofocus is not on point when it comes to 4K, so like higher quality videos. For me personally, I'm mostly just making videos for YouTube, so I don't really absolutely need a 4K that's really bomb and autofocus, so that wasn't really that big of a deal to me. And even now I haven't really shot in 4K. One of the reasons I haven't shot in 4K is that it's very cropped. I'll insert some videos of me doing 4K with the kit lens and also 4K with a wide angle lens, so you can see what the crop does with the kit lens and how it looks with the wide angle lens as well. Okay, so this is 4K, and that's, you just saw that autofocus, right? Let me tap myself. Boom, boom. Okay, there it is. So this is 4K. The crop, I didn't move. The crop just moved on its own because 4Ks were cropped in, but pretty high quality. And if I was just sitting here and just taking this video, and like, I don't mind it, but if I'm running around, kind of has a little bit of a harder time. Alright, and this right here is 4K with a 10 to 18 millimeter lens. I'll link it down below. It's the one that I had to buy a lens mount for. But this is 4K. To get rid of that crop, I just popped on a wide angle lens and it kind of fixed that issue. The type of autofocus that the 4K does have is really good for close-up portraits. So if you're doing kind of just a close-up, high quality, nothing really too crazy going on, then you're fine. But if you want a high quality sports action video, then maybe the Canon M50 isn't for you. Another reason why I chose the Canon M50 is that it's compatible with my mic. It has a hot shoe spot that I can put the mic onto, and it has an input port for my microphone. So I use a Takstar mic. It's pretty much the generic of a Rode mic because I did not want to drop a lot of money on a Rode mic. I'll link down below the Takstar. This is what I'm using for audio, and if you want just an affordable version of a Rode mic, it might not be as high of quality as it, but it does really well and it gets the job done. I'll also insert a video of the regular Canon M50 mic so you can hear it without the microphone as well. Okay, so this is the audio without the Takstar microphone. I don't know how different it is because I've actually never have recorded without the Takstar microphone. Hey, future Angela editing, I wonder how bad this is. A few more features that really appeal to me when choosing a Canon M50 is the fact that it has a flip screen that I can see myself in as I'm recording, because that's just nice to have if you're vlogging, to make sure that the frame is set right, especially since I don't have anyone recording me. It's just me, myself, and I, and a tripod. And it's good just to make sure I'm in frame. Another cool feature of the Canon M50 is that it's compatible with phones. So there is a Canon Connect app, and through that app I can do remote controlling of my camera. So I like to take self-portraits because, again, me, myself, and I don't have anyone to take pictures or videos of me. So it's cool that I can just connect it to my phone and do just remote photography. I can change the shutter speed and the ISO and everything from my phone, so that's really cool. Though the app kinda is a little wonky sometimes, like it has a hard time connecting, but for the most part I think it works well. And compared to the Nikon's app, I think Canon's app has a lot less bugs, but it still has its own issues. Another thing I like about the Canon M50 is that it is a touchscreen, and that really makes it easy to navigate through the camera. Another reason why I chose the Canon M50 is that it is highly recommended by a lot of vloggers. If you're anything like me, you might have watched 2 or 3 or 4 of these kinds of videos because you're trying to decide whether or not to purchase it, because I did exactly that. And you'll notice that a lot of people who just do vlogging for YouTube or just take photos for Instagram love this camera. And that's because it's a great price point, it takes really good photos, and it's very compact and a little bit more discreet than other cameras as well. So overall, I really like this camera, but there are a couple downsides that I've noticed since I've had it. So the one downside that you'll see all over the internet has to do with the autofocus in 4K, which I already mentioned. But as I said earlier, I haven't really felt the effect of that. I rarely shoot in 4K. So as of right now, it's getting the job done. A downside that I have noticed though is the way that the little door for the battery and memory card is set up on the camera makes it really hard to change the battery or memory card. Actually, it makes it impossible to change the battery or memory card if it's on a tripod. So if my camera were to say low battery right now and be like boop, I would have to physically take the camera off the tripod, which possibly might move my frame a little bit, which is noticeable when you're filming in the same spot. So the battery placement was kind of bad on Canon's part. Speaking of the battery, I find that the battery dies kind of quickly on this one. I heard that mirrorless cameras actually have a lower lifespan. Yeah, they have a lower lifespan than DSLR cameras because rather than reflecting the light off a mirror, it's doing it electronically, which obviously takes up electricity, so the battery power is a little shorter than I would like. But as long as you buy extra batteries, I have 2 other ones that I bought. I'll link them down below. It's a generic version of the Canon batteries, but they work just fine, and it's always good to have them on deck if it does die, because it does die, especially if you're using the remote photography. The energy it takes to use the Wi-Fi drains the battery. The last downfall of a Canon M50 is that the lens mount is not compatible with all lenses, so it is an EF-M mount. So you need to buy a lens mount to use any EF lenses or EF.S lenses. And recently I bought a wide angle lens that was, I believe, an EF lens, and I had to buy a mount adapter on top of that, which was an additional $100 because I bought it refurbished from Amazon. But yeah, so that was kind of a bummer, but now that I have that lens mount, it's chill and I can buy lenses that are EFS or whatever, so I'm good with that. But that at the moment, it was kind of a bummer. In conclusion, if you are a beginner photographer who's looking to upgrade from an iPhone and just wants to blog and get used to taking photos, then this camera is pretty awesome and it is a good choice in my opinion. But if you're looking to shoot high quality action B-roll, this might not be the camera for you because of that 4K autofocus limitation. And finally, I do believe that this camera is still relevant in 2020 because smartphone technology has not caught up. I love this camera. I'm so happy and grateful that my boyfriend got it for me. And even if he didn't get it for me, I would have gotten it on my own. That's how I feel about this camera. So I hope this video helps you out a little bit. I know that when I was looking for cameras, I was doing this and watching videos and I found them really helpful. So I hope that this adds to your bank of information and lets you make a decision. And that is all I have for you guys today. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you like content like this. My name is Angela. Until next time.